Hey everybody, this is Carl from the Awan Tech Support team, and today's video I'm going to show you guys how to control volume on two zones at the same time for an M86. So I got to throw a couple disclaimers out. One is this is not supported because there is no easy way of doing this. What I'm about to show you guys is a workaround to make this work. Because it's not supported, please don't call Elon Tech Support asking for help on this. Just refer to the video and it should work for you. If not, I suggest going on the forum and posting some questions, and I'll be glad to help out when I can. Other thing is I'm sick, so I sound like crap, and please forgive me if I cough on this video, but I've been sick for a little while and having a hard time shaking it. So anyways, get started. What we're going to do is we're going to link the dining M86 zone with the kitchen M86 zone. And the idea here is the two zones are really close to each other, so we want to treat it as one zone. However, there's a pair of speakers installed in the dining room, and there's a pair of speakers installed in the kitchen. And because of that, we're not going to combine these speakers onto one zone because you're going to have impedance problems. So we do have to use two separate outputs on this M86. But we want the volume to ramp up and down together, and we want to be able to just select a source into that one common zone and have it affect both zones. Okay? So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slave the kitchen to the dining room. So I'm going to click on the dining zone. I'm going to go up here to slave zone 1 and choose the kitchen zone. After I do that, you'll see that the slave 1 source column becomes highlighted. I'm going to go in there and just choose the appropriate sources for each source over here. So obviously the squeeze box is the squeeze box, the H86 output 1, H86 output 2, the two tuners, and so on. And then we'll hit apply. So now the kitchen is now a slave of the dining. What that means is if we go in the dining zone and try to use it and choose a source, it will turn the kitchen zone on and also select the corresponding source. What it will not do is it will not track volume. So you can't raise the volume in the dining zone and have it increase the volume in the kitchen zone. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to add a new audio zone controller. We're going to create a generic single zone controller. And we'll just call this dining/kitchen. Hit OK. Excuse me. And over here, we're going to add some commands for to turn that on. So first thing I'm going to do is change the on-off control type to discrete verify always send. And I'll just change the source control type as well. For the power on command, this is important. What we're going to do is we're going to want to turn on both of those zones, as well as adjust the volume level of both of those zones. So I'm going to go ahead and first go into the dining and choose a turn on command. I'm going to add another one, and we're going to set volume to. I'm just going to choose 50 as a middle level. That way, every time we access this zone, it's going to automatically turn it on and set the dining volume to 50. We're going to do the exact same thing for kitchen. So we're going to turn it on. We add another command to set the volume to 50. So now, anytime they go into that zone, both of these zones off the M86 will turn on and set their volume at 50. Now you can choose whatever number you want. I recommend going with whatever volume level that your homeowner is typically used to listening to. That way it's less steps for them. So that's the power on command. Power off, we're just going to turn both of those zones off. So we'll just go to turn off for the kitchen zone, and we're going to go to the dining zone and turn that off as well. Okay, so our on and off is done, and mute, I'm sure you guys can figure out. We'll just add the mute command for both of those zones. So let's choose mute and hit OK. And we'll do the kitchen mute. There we go. Okay, Now the tricky part is doing the volume. We're going to actually go to the Event Mapper tab to add a couple things. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a couple, not timed events, run one system timers. Now it's important that you label these with a label that's easy to follow so that you don't forget what it is. So I'm going to call this one a dining kitchen volume up timer. And we'll just leave that base second where it's at, and we're going to add another one and call that dining kitchen volume down timer. There we go. So we got our two timers, and I'm going to show you why we have those in a second. Let's go to our event maps. Let's create a new event map, and we're going to call that dining kitchen volume up loop, because it is a loop that we're going to be creating. We'll have a second event map too for volume down. Kitchen volume down loop. And okay. Alright, so we'll start with volume down. The event is actually going to be selecting the dining kitchen volume down timer and when it expires. This will make sense in a minute. The command that we're going to add is we're going to decrease, look, I got a meeting, guys. Hopefully I finish this video in 5 minutes. We're going to decrease the volume by 1. Since this is volume down for the kitchen, we're going to add it again, and we're going to do the dining this time. We're going to decrease the volume by 1. And we're going to start the timer. So we're going to go General System, select that volume down timer, and start it again at 10 milliseconds. And now what that's going to do, if you can imagine here, is when this timer expires, we're going to send the volume down command by 1 and start that timer again. So it creates a loop, because this is going to expire, send that, expire, send that. Now what we need to do is we need to start that timer when you hit the volume down command. So going back to the Media tab, you're going to select your Dining Kitchen generic single zone controller, and let's start with Begin Volume Down. I'm going to add a command. First thing that we'll do is we'll add the volume down commands. So decrease volume by 1 for the dining, and we're going to do that for the kitchen. Decrease volume by 1. And then we're going to start that timer. So General System, volume down timer, start timer at 10 milliseconds. Now keep in mind this seconds, you can always adjust it here. It's going to depend on how fast you want that volume to ramp down or up. So you might have to make this a little bit bigger if it goes too fast, or make it smaller if it's too slow. So that's going to be up to you to adjust that accordingly. Okay, so what we did here is when you begin volume down, which means you're pressing and holding the volume down button, it's going to decrease the volume by 1 and start this timer. Okay? Now keep in mind on the Event Mapper tab, we have an event map that says when that timer expires to decrease it by 1 and start it over. So that's where that loop comes. By pressing and holding the volume down, it's now starting a loop to keep decreasing the volume by 1. Now we need to stop it when you release the button. So going back to the Dining Kitchen audio zone controller, we're going to go to End Volume Down. That means you just released the volume down button. And all you got to do is do General System. You're going to select that volume down timer, and you're going to cancel it. So that's it for volume down. We're done with that. So now when you go to this Dining Kitchen zone and select volume down on your interface, and you press it, it's going to ramp the volume down for both of those zones. And when you release it, it's going to stop ramping it. So we're going to do the exact same thing for volume up. So I'll just do that real quick. Start that timer at 10 milliseconds. And send a command to both the dining and kitchen to increase the volume by 1. Excuse me. Increase volume by 1. There we go. And I'm just going to move that timer command down. So there's the begin volume up and end volume up. Remember, guys, we're just going to cancel that timer. So that's the release. And this is the volume up timer. And it's important that you have two timers for volume up and volume down. Don't try to get away with just one timer because you might run into issues if two people are trying to adjust the volume from two different interfaces at the same time. And we're going to cancel that. So that is it. We're done. Now, what's important is I would rename this to Dining Kitchen. There we go. Hit Apply. And go over to the Interface tab and make sure that we can see that zone since it's a new zone. And it is there. So here's our dining kitchen over there. I'm just going to add those. Typically you want them to be over here so that your homeowner doesn't see it, but I'm just going to add them so that you can see that it is indeed working. Let me just make sure that it's there too. There we go. Let me get our viewer up. Okay. So if you'll see, we're going to go into the dining kitchen zone. Oops, I forgot one step. See, guys, I'm sick. We do have to make those sources show up. So dining kitchen, you're going to go on this source. You're going to do output from your dining zone since that's our master. And hit apply. So now all the sources from the M86 will show up on your dining kitchen zone. So let me pull that viewer up again. Get a media, and there's our sources. So if I select the HD music, oh, guys, I am late for my meeting. I better get over there. Give me a minute. Just select something here and play it. Now, if I increase volume, go over here to the dining, you'll see that both of these have the correct thing going on. When I decrease and increase volume, you'll be able to see that the volume will go up in the dining as well as the kitchen. Just to give you an idea of where it's at, they're at the exact spot. So I'm just going to decrease it, and you can see that it has, oh, here we go, this will be easier. There you go. So you can see that the volume has ramped the same on both the dining and kitchen. Just go down even further, and it's gone down a little bit further. So that ramping is probably not quick enough for your homeowner, so all you got to do at that point is just lower the milliseconds on your timers, and that'll make it ramp a little bit faster. So that is it. That will conclude linking volume workaround for an M86. This also applies to S86s. Of course, the official way of linking zones is just to get an amplifier and hook it up to the preamp out of your zone on your M86, and then an amp that can handle 4 speakers, or a 4-channel amp that you can hook up 4 speakers to. Then you'll be able to ramp volume, and that's the correct way of doing it. But here's a workaround if you're in a bind. That'll get you through it. I'm going to post this on the forum, so please hit me up with any questions, or if you need a little bit more explanation, and I'll help you guys out. All right, have a good one.